Admiral Han's eyes remained fixed on the vast starscape beyond the observation window. Countless stars stretched into infinity, their light reaching the Phoenix Ascendant after journeys of thousands of years. She placed her hand against the cool glass, feeling the subtle vibration of the massive ship's engines. 3,000 years. It was hard to imagine such a span of time. Yet that's how long humans had wandered the stars since leaving Earth. Han's ancestors had fled aboard generation ships like this one, carrying the remnants of humanity away from their conquered homeworld. The Vraxian Dominion had come without warning. Their ships darkened Earth's skies on a spring day in 2271. Those who survived told stories of unstoppable weapons and alien soldiers who showed no mercy. The lucky ones escaped. The rest became subjects of the new rulers of Earth. Now, the children of those refugees had built something remarkable. The Terran Concordat stretched across 42 star systems. Their technology had advanced beyond what old Earth could have imagined. Their military forces were disciplined and powerful, but they never forgot where they came from. Another sleepless night. "Admiral," the ship's AI asked, its voice gentle in the quiet room. Han nodded. The anniversary always brings back the old stories. Every year, the Concordat marked the fall of Earth. Children learned about the blue planet with its oceans and forests. Adults renewed their pledges to remember. Some still hoped that someday humanity might return. The door to the observation deck slid open. Captain Jun entered, his face serious. "Admiral, forgive the interruption." Han turned. "What brings you here at this hour, Captain?" Jun held a data tablet. "The archaeological team on Proxima IV has made a discovery. They've recovered intact Vraxian records from the conquest period." This wasn't unusual. Fragments of Vraxian technology and records appeared occasionally. What makes these special? They're complete, uncorrupted, and Jun hesitated. "You should see for yourself." He activated the tablet. A holographic display appeared between them, showing alien text and images. The ship's AI translated in real time. Han watched as the truth unfolded before her eyes. The Vraxians had never acted alone. They were mercenaries, hired by a shadowy group called the Arbiters. This council of alien species had monitored Earth for centuries. They feared humanity's rapid development, their adaptability, their unpredictable nature. The records showed meetings where the Arbiters discussed humanity like a disease that needed containment. Too dangerous to be allowed free development. One translated passage read, "Potential threat to galactic stability." "They feared us," Han whispered, anger rising in her chest. Jun nodded. The Vraxians were just the weapon. The Arbiters were the ones who decided Earth needed to fall. The hologram showed more. After conquest, the Arbiters had transformed Earth into something between a prison and a museum, a monument to a potential threat they had contained. The Vraxians eventually left, their contract complete, but the Arbiters remained as Earth's true masters. "Do we know if the Arbiters still control Earth?" Han asked. "The records suggest a permanent installation. There's more. They've been using Earth as an example to keep other young species in line. See what happens to those who advance too quickly." Han's hands tightened into fists. For generations, humans had believed they lost Earth to conquerors seeking resources or territory. Learning they had been deemed too dangerous to exist freely changed everything. She walked to the command console and pressed her palm against the security scanner. A hidden compartment opened, revealing a physical map of the solar system, humanity's original home. "Send these findings to the Concordat Council immediately," Han ordered. "Mark it highest priority." "What will you recommend, Admiral?" Jun asked. Han studied the map, her finger tracing the path from their current position back to the Sol system. "For 3,000 years, we've wandered and built and prepared. We never knew why we really lost Earth. Now we do." She looked up, her expression resolute. "The Concordat has surpassed even old Earth's technology. Our military forces are ready. We've established ourselves among the stars. Are you suggesting Operation Homecoming, Han said firmly. It's time to reclaim what was taken from us. Not just because it's our birthright, but because no species deserves to be caged for their potential. Jum's eyes widened. The Council might consider this too risky. The Arbiters judged our ancestors without truly knowing them, Han replied. They feared what humans might become. After 3,000 years, perhaps it's time they learned they were right to be afraid. She turned back to the stars, imagining Earth among them. Prepare the fleet, Captain. We're going home. The laboratory aboard the Phoenix Ascendant hummed with energy as scientist Kim worked. Her fingers moved quickly across the control panel. Before her sat a small metal cube, ancient by any standard. The team had recovered it from an abandoned human outpost on Mars, a relic from before Earth's fall. Are you sure this is safe? Asked her assistant. That AI is over 3,000 years old. Kim nodded without looking up. Our ancestors built things to last. They knew someone might need these memories someday. The cube began to glow as power flowed into it. Lights flickered across its surface in patterns that grew more complex with each passing moment. Then, a beam of light shot upward, forming a holographic figure, a woman in outdated clothing, her image occasionally glitching. System restored, the AI announced. I am Athena, Advanced Tactical Historical and Educational Mural Assistant. Date, April 14, 5271. That cannot be correct. It is correct, Kim said. You've been dormant for 3 millennia. The AI processed this information. My last active date was during the Vraxian invasion. Earth's defenses were failing. I was ordered to preserve critical data for future generations. Kim leaned forward. We need that data now. What do you know about the Arbiters? The holographic woman's expression darkened. The Arbiters, they were the true enemy. The Vraxians were merely their tools. Athena projected images of Earth as it had been just before the fall, then began overlaying current scans the reconnaissance probes had sent back. The once blue planet now showed vast geometric structures across its surface. Massive towers reached toward the sky. Artificial channels had replaced many natural rivers. Earth has been transformed into an Arbiter stronghold, HFY explained. A living museum of human failure. They keep artifacts of human civilization to show other species what happens to those who advance too quickly. Commander Du stood silently in the corner, watching. His dark eyes never left the images of Earth. His family had passed down stories through generations, tales of the last human resistance fighters who stayed behind to help others escape. My great-grandmother times 100 fought on those streets, Du said, stepping forward. She chose to stay behind so others could flee. My family has waited 3,000 years for this moment. He straightened his uniform. I will lead the ground forces. Admiral Han, who had been quietly observing, nodded. There is no one better qualified, Commander. The door to the laboratory slid open. 2 security officers entered, escorting a tall figure whose gray skin and elongated features marked him as non-human. The crew members tensed. Even after thousands of years, humans remembered their enemy. This is Bin, Admiral Han explained. He is Vraxian, yes, but also a defector. He has been helping us prepare. Bin bowed his head slightly. My people were wrong to help the Arbiters. We were told humans were dangerous, unpredictable. But in 3,000 years, we've learned the Arbiters lie to everyone. He approached the holographic display and pointed to certain structures. The Arbiters have weaknesses. Their technology depends on predictability and patterns. They cannot comprehend true randomness or creative thinking. This is why they feared humans so much. And why they still fear us. Admiral Han added. An officer rushed into the room, interrupting them. Admiral, the intelligence team has intercepted communications from Earth's surface. Everyone fell silent. Communications from Earth. That was unexpected. The officer activated his tablet, and a scratchy audio recording filled the room. The language was strange, a dialect of English that had evolved in isolation, mixed with words no one recognized. Forest Mother seeks star travelers. The old stories were true. Earth remembers her children. HFY analyzed the transmission. This is definitely human speech. It appears there are still humans on Earth, surviving despite Arbiter rule. How is that possible? Kim asked. After all this time. Humans adapt, Bin said simply. This is what the Arbiters feared most. The intelligence officer continued. We've tracked the transmission origin. It came from what was once called the Amazon region. Our scans show small settlements hidden beneath the forest canopy. They've developed methods to shield themselves from Arbiter detection. Commander Du's expression hardened with determination. These aren't just survivors. They're resistance fighters who never gave up. For 3,000 years, they've waited for us to return. Admiral Han studied the Earth images, now with new respect. This changes our approach. We're not just reclaiming an empty homeland. We're liberating our people. Bin stepped closer to the display. These Earth humans will know things about the Arbiters that even I don't. Their knowledge will be invaluable. The Forest Mother, Commander Du repeated. Their leader. I need to meet her. Admiral Han nodded. Prepare your team, Commander. Our original plan was stealth insertion to establish a foothold. Now we have potential allies waiting. As the others discussed tactical details, Kim continued working with HFY, extracting more data from the ancient eye. Suddenly, HFY displayed a new set of images, detailed schematics of Arbiter technology. My creators left you a gift, HFY said. The last human scientists discovered an Arbiter weakness. They didn't have time to exploit it before the end. Kim studied the data, her eyes widening. This could change everything. It was meant to, HFY replied. They knew someday humanity would return. The lunar dust rose in small clouds with each step Commander Du took across the surface. The Earth hung above them, no longer the blue pearl from ancient images, but a transformed world with geometric patterns visible even from here. His team moved silently toward the abandoned pre-fall lunar base, their mission clear: establish a forward position for the invasion. Lieutenant Sun moved ahead, scanning for threats. Her equipment detected nothing at first, but as they approached the old base entrance, her scanner beeped a warning. Movement ahead, she whispered into her comm. Automated systems still active. Du signaled the team to take cover. Moments later, a dome in the lunar surface opened and a machine rose up. It had many arms and sensors, clearly designed for defense. It swept the area with scanning beams. Don't move, Du ordered. It's searching for heat signatures and movement patterns. The team froze, but the machine turned directly toward them anyway. Its arms extended, weapons powering up. It knows we're human, Sun realized, diving away as the machine fired. Her shot hit the machine's center, but it continued functioning. Standard tactics won't work, Du called out. Switch to random movement patterns. No coordination. The team scattered, each member moving in unpredictable ways. The machine struggled to track them, its weapons firing where humans should logically take cover rather than where they actually went. Sun slid beneath the machine, attaching a disruptor to its underside. They built these specifically to counter human military tactics, she said as the device shut down. They still fear us. Inside the lunar base, the team found more evidence of Arbiter paranoia. The entire facility had been converted into a monitoring station focused on detecting human return. Du set up their command center in a shielded section while technicians worked to tap into Arbiter communication systems. Commander called a technician. We've isolated the transmissions from Earth. The Forest Mother's people are requesting direct contact. Du nodded. Prepare the dropships. We move to Earth tonight. The descent to Earth happened during a rare storm that helped mask their approach. Du's team landed in a dense forest that had reclaimed what was once a major city. The ruins of human buildings peeked through massive tree trunks and hanging vines. Stay alert, Du warned. The Arbiters will have patrols. They moved through the forest for hours before sensing they were being watched. Du halted the team with a hand signal. "We know you're there," he called out. "We've come from the stars, as your forest mother requested." Figures emerged from the vegetation so seamlessly it seemed like the forest itself was moving. Men and women with skin painted in patterns that mimicked the forest floor surrounded them. Their weapons were simple but effective, bows with arrows that Du's scanner indicated contained powerful neurotoxins. A tall woman stepped forward. Her face bore intricate scared patterns, and she carried a staff topped with technological components that shouldn't exist among primitive forest dwellers. "I am Yuna," she said in the same dialect they had heard in the transmission. "The one you call Forest Mother." Du removed his helmet, showing his face as a gesture of trust. "Commander Du of the Terran Concordat, we've come to reclaim Earth." Yuna studied him, then smiled. "Your face matches the old pictures. The Star Travelers return, just as our stories said you would." She led them to a hidden settlement built into and around massive trees. Du was amazed to see technology integrated with the natural environment. Solar collectors disguised as broad leaves, water filtration systems that looked like vine networks. "How have you survived under Arbiter rule for so long?" Du asked as they entered a meeting area. Yuna gestured around them. "By becoming what they could not understand, they built their cities of metal and stone with straight lines and patterns. We became the forest. We adapted. Change. When they look here, they see only wilderness." She led them to a wall covered in paintings. "We've kept our history alive for 3,000 years. Each generation learns the stories, adds to our knowledge. We watched the Arbiters, learned their weaknesses, prepared for this day when our kin would return from the stars." Du studied the wall, recognizing depictions of the fall of Earth, the Exodus, and what appeared to be prophecies of return. "You knew we would come back. The last messages from our fleeing ancestors promised it," Yuna said. "We believed them. We waited." In space near Jupiter, Admiral Han stood on the bridge of the Phoenix Ascendant as the Terran fleet moved into position. The massive gas giant provided some cover as Arbiter patrol ships moved to intercept them. "They've detected us," reported Captain June. "Arbiter vessels approaching from Earth orbit." Han nodded calmly. "Just as expected. Deploy according to the Thermopylae protocol." Officers looked at each other in surprise before carrying out the order. The fleet began splitting into smaller groups, positioning themselves in what appeared to be a disorganized pattern. "The Thermopylae protocol?" June questioned. "That's from ancient Earth military history." "Precisely," Han replied. "Athena provided us with complete records of human military tactics that haven't been used in 3 millennia. The Arbiters study our standard approaches, but they've never seen this." The Arbiter ships formed a perfect battle line, their weapons charging. They clearly expected the human fleet to do the same. Instead, the Terran vessels executed the ancient flanking maneuver, surrounding the Arbiters from multiple angles simultaneously. The battle was brief but decisive. "First wave neutralize," Jun reported. "The remaining Arbiter ships are retreating back to Earth." Han watched the tactical display, satisfaction in her eyes. "They prepared for the humans they drove from Earth, but we've spent 3,000 years remembering and evolving. That's something they could never predict." The rain fell steadily over the forest camp as Commander Du studied the latest reports from his scout teams. 2 weeks had passed since their landing on Earth, and the revolution was spreading quickly. Yuna's forest people had sent messages to other hidden human groups across the planet. What the Arbiters thought were scattered primitive tribes were revealing themselves as a coordinated resistance network. Du's communications device buzzed. "Commander, this is Scientist Kim aboard the Phoenix Ascendant. I need to speak with you immediately." Du ducked into his tent where the holographic projector was set up. Kim's image appeared, her face troubled. "What have you found?" Du asked. Kim's hands moved through data displays visible only to her. "We've been analyzing the samples from the Arbiter facility your team raided yesterday. The results are disturbing. She projected images that showed laboratories with human subjects. The arbiters have been harvesting genetic material from Earth humans for centuries. They've been studying them, experimenting on them. Du felt cold anger rise within him. Why? They fear something in our DNA, Kim explained. According to the data we recovered, humans have genetic markers unlike any other species they've encountered. These markers are linked to our cognitive flexibility, our creativity, our ability to think in ways that don't follow predictable patterns. They fear how we think, Du said, understanding dawning. Yes, and they've been trying to isolate this trait, perhaps to eliminate it or control it. Du was about to respond when Bin entered his tent. The Vraxian had proven invaluable, helping them avoid arbiter patrols and understand the enemy's technology. Commander, I need to show you something, Bin said, his normally calm voice urgent. He connected his own device to the holographic projector. A three-dimensional map of Earth appeared, focusing on the Pacific Ocean. Beneath the waters, a massive structure was highlighted. What am I looking at? Du asked. The Arbiter Council headquarters, Bin replied. I've been working to decrypt their secure communications. I finally succeeded. This facility lies beneath the Pacific Ocean, at the deepest point of what humans once called the Mariana Trench. Du studied the structure with growing amazement. It extended miles into the ocean floor, far larger than any human building had ever been. The Council has been here all along, Bin continued, directly overseeing Earth. This confirms how important they consider humanity. They believe humans possess unique cognitive abilities that threaten their galactic order. Their order is based on predictability, Kim added. Species developing along expected paths, following patterns the arbiters can control. Humans never fit their models. Du called for his lieutenants. We need to get this information to Admiral Han immediately, if we can strike at the Council directly. There's more, Bin said. The facility is heavily defended, but there are underwater access points designed for maintenance. A small team could potentially infiltrate it. Du nodded. I'll lead it myself. Later that day, Yuna led Du through the forest to what appeared to be an overgrown hill. As they got closer, Du realized it was actually a half-buried statue, ancient and weathered. Before the fall, humans built monuments across Earth, Yuna explained, placing her hand on the stone surface. When the arbiters came, they destroyed most of them. They wanted to erase human history. She pressed specific points on the statue in sequence. A hidden compartment opened in its base. But our ancestors were clever, she continued, reaching inside. They left messages for us. For you. She withdrew an object wrapped in preserved animal hide. Unwrapping it revealed a data storage device of ancient design. We've kept these safe for 3,000 years, Yuna said proudly. Passed down from generation to generation. We couldn't read them ourselves. We lost that technology. But we knew someday our star kin would return. Du carefully took the device. What's on them? Plans, Yuna said simply. The last scientists and military leaders knew the arbiters would win the first war, so they prepared for the second one. They studied the arbiters, learned their weaknesses, and created plans for humanity's return. Du was stunned. They weren't just fighting to survive. They were fighting for a future they would never see. Yuna nodded. Across Earth, in monuments and hidden places, messages wait for you. Together, they form a complete battle plan against the arbiters. All this time, Du said quietly, we thought Earth fell completely. But the resistance never ended. Look around you. Yuna gestured to the forest people gathering nearby. Every child born here is taught two things: the true history of Earth, and the promise that our family would return from the stars. One of Du's soldiers approached, saluting. Commander, we're receiving reports from around the planet. Human groups are emerging everywhere, attacking arbiter outposts. They're rising up, Yuna said. My messengers have spread the word that the star travelers have returned. This is the moment we've prepared for over thousands of years. Du looked at the ancient data device in his hand, then at the determined faces of Earth's survivors. The arbiters thought they understood humans. They thought they could predict us, control us, study us like specimens, but they never truly understood what makes us human. "And what is that?" Bin asked, having joined them. "Hope," Du answered. "The ability to fight for a future we might never see ourselves." He activated his communicator to contact Admiral Han. "Admiral, I believe we found a way to end this war once and for all." The arbiters built their headquarters right here on Earth, thinking it was the last place we'd ever return to. Perhaps the most human trait of all, Yuna added with a smile, is our ability to surprise. The ocean depths had never seen such activity. Specialized submersibles designed by Terran engineers descended toward the Mariana Trench, each carrying soldiers prepared for the most important battle in human history. Commander Du sat in the lead vessel, reviewing the attack plan one final time. "All teams report ready," Lieutenant Sun announced. "The Earth resistance forces are in position around the globe." The ancient data devices from the monuments had revealed more than just plans. They contained override codes for arbiter systems, created by scientists who had infiltrated arbiter technology before Earth fell. For 3,000 years, these codes had waited to be used. Admiral Han's voice came through the communication system. "Fleet is in position. The orbital battle has begun. Proceed with your mission, Commander." The submersibles approached the vast underwater structure. It stretched for miles across the ocean floor, its architecture alien and imposing. Du had expected heavy resistance, but the approach was strangely quiet. "They don't believe we attacked their headquarters directly," Bin explained from his position beside Du. "Such boldness doesn't fit their predictive models of human behavior." The entry point was a maintenance hatch designed for underwater drones. Du's team attached breaching devices while technicians began uploading the ancient override codes. The massive door slid open, surprisingly easy. "Remember," Du told his team, "our goal is to reach the council chamber. Admiral Han will join us once the orbital battle allows." They moved through corridors that seemed designed for beings much larger than humans. Everything was built with perfect geometric precision, lacking any artistic flourishes or natural elements. This was the heart of a civilization that valued order above all else. The team encountered scattered resistance, automated defense systems, and a few arbiter guards. These guards were tall, thin beings with gray skin that seemed almost translucent. They moved with precise, calculated motions, but faced with the chaotic human attack patterns, they faltered. "They fight like machines," Sun observed after defeating 2 guards. "No adaptation, no creativity." Deeper they pressed, until they reached a massive chamber. The ceiling rose hundreds of feet above them. In the center sat 7 enormous crystalline structures, each containing what appeared to be a being made of light. "The Arbiter Council," Bin whispered. "Not physical beings at all, but energy constructs." Before Du could respond, the chamber doors sealed behind them. A voice that seemed to come from everywhere spoke. "Humans, you have surprised us once again." The central crystal glowed brighter as the voice continued. "We calculated a 0.3% probability of your return to Earth. We calculated a 0.00001% probability of your discovering our center of operations. Your species continues to defy prediction." "That's why you fear us," Du replied. "We don't fit your models." "Unpredictability leads to chaos," the voice stated. "Chaos threatens the galactic order we have maintained for millions of years." The chamber doors opened again, and Admiral Han entered with her own team. She had scorch marks on her uniform from the orbital battle, but stood tall and proud. "The Arbiter fleet is retreating," she announced. "Earth orbit is clear." She stepped forward to address the council. "For 3,000 years, you've used our homeworld as a museum of failure, a warning to other species." "We maintained order," the lead arbiter responded. "We prevented a dangerous species from disrupting the galaxy." "You feared what you couldn't control," Han corrected. "But in doing so, You created exactly what you feared. We've spent 3 millennia becoming stronger, more adaptable. The very traits you tried to suppress are what brought us back. The crystals pulsed with light as the arbiters communicated among themselves. Finally, the lead arbiter spoke again. We offer you peace. Return to your colonies and leave Earth to us. This arrangement would benefit all. Han stepped closer to the crystal, unafraid. Earth is not yours to give. We have outgrown your manipulation. You cannot defeat us, the arbiter warned. We exist in many forms across the galaxy. We don't need to defeat you, Han replied. We just need you to understand that humanity will never again be controlled. We've earned our place among the stars through our own efforts. Du activated the final sequence from the ancient plans. Throughout the facility, systems began shutting down as the override codes took effect. Your choice is simple, Han continued. Leave Earth peacefully, or we will force you to leave. The crystal beings flickered, their light dimming. This is not over. The galaxy requires order. The galaxy requires freedom, Han corrected, for all species to develop in their own way. One by one, the crystals darkened. Throughout the facility, alarms sounded as the arbiter presence began withdrawing. 1 year later, Admiral Han stood on a grassy hillside, looking down at the human settlement below. The ruins of old Earth cities were being reclaimed, but not erased. New buildings incorporated the ancient structures, honoring the past while creating something new. Nearby, stone workers carved a massive monument. The names of Earth's resistance leaders throughout the 3,000 years of occupation covered its surface. Generations who never surrendered, who kept humanity's spirit alive when all seemed lost. Yuna joined her on the hillside, now serving as Earth's representative to the Concordat Council. The Earthborn and Starborn still have much to learn from each other, Yuna observed. Han nodded. Different paths, saying humanity. In her pocket, Han carried a small device. The latest intelligence report. Arbiter vessels had been detected regrouping in a distant sector. They would return someday, still believing that humanity threatened their orderly galaxy. And they were right. They'll never truly understand us, Han said. Yuna smiled. That's our greatest strength. The end.